Today, I want to talk a moment about what if today you created something worth talking about. So often we wake up and we say, okay, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I've got to be moving through the day doing this and that and the other thing. But do we ever wake up and say, today I am going to create something worth talking about? Something that people will stop and take notice of and begin to talk about? Or do we simply wake up and say, well, I got to do what I got to do to get it done, got to bump the hustle, do the grind, cash in the check, show up and do the hours that are required? You're going to spend a lot of your day, a lot of your life at work or in work. And if you're not showing up excited and energized and passionate about it, if you don't walk into your workplace, into your environment, into your creative space and say, today, I'm going to create something worth talking about. And hopefully you're thinking in the positive sense. I'm going to create something worth talking about in my business, on my team, with my family, in my community. I have the power to create anything today, anything. Why not create something worth talking about? I think we've fallen into this cycle of me too, me better. I see it over and over again in marketing. I see it over and over again in this space when people are using online media maybe more to promote themselves. And it's that me too, I'm better, me too, I'm better. As if they're following this pack, this herd of people onto social media, into business, into the world, and they just want to be another Me Too, slightly better version of somebody else's product, somebody else's idea, somebody else's life, somebody else's story. And you were given a unique story to be all your own, specifically designed for you. So, how does that fit into the idea of Me Too, slightly better? What if instead, and I made some notes about different ways you could approach your creative process today. As you look at your work, as you look at your business, as you look at the things you're creating into the universe, what if you said, I'm going to create the simplest solution to the problem? I would sign up so quickly. I would be beating a path to your door. I am all about simple. Like, even the thought of shopping at IKEA scares me because I know what the furniture looks like. But more importantly, I know what the instructions look like. What if you created the opposite? I'm going to create the hardest program ever. But when you finish, you'll be a master. You'll be strength. You'll be powerful. You'll be in tune with yourself. What if I'm going to create the smallest or the biggest became your goal? The thing that when you ask these questions is it causes you to move into a creative space by saying, what am I currently doing? What would it look like if I created the smallest version of it? What would it look like if I created the biggest version of it? What would it look like if I created the most efficient or the best or the cheapest or the least expensive or most expensive or slowest or fastest or first or last or newest or oldest or most popular or least popular or most unique or the only? Are you asking yourself questions about the things that you do each and every day? Are you leaning into it and saying, how can I make it 1% different? How could I create something today worth talking about? And maybe you choose the biggest, or maybe you choose the fastest, or maybe you choose the most expensive or the least expensive. Maybe you choose the easiest or the hardest. Maybe you choose the newest or the last. But what you got to do is pick one. You got to pick one. And then you've got to sit back and own it and say, okay, today I'm going to focus on this, and I'm going to focus on it so intently that when the day is over, people are going to be talking about it. And I don't mean that from a center of ego, a center of me, look how wonderful I am. But people will be talking about it because it will stand out. It will be unique. It will be specifically designed around you and your goals in that day to create something worth talking about. Wouldn't that be a life worth living? Wouldn't that be what waking up should be about? moving into the day saying, whoa, today I'm going to create something worth talking about. Even if it's the breakfast for your family or your spouse, even if it's the good morning that you share as you walk into the office, or the project that you're working on, or the interactions you have with teammates, or the business that you're building as you're hunkered down during COVID. What if you approached it today from the position of, I am going to create something worth talking about? Wouldn't that just be great? I mean, think of it. How would that change the way you start your day? How would that change the way you focus in on what you're about to begin? Give it a try. Before you begin your next task, before you move down the to-do list, before you scan through your Facebook feeds, even in that, say, how can I create the best Facebook meme or comment or post that will cause people to begin to talk? Because when people begin to talk, they begin to communicate. We begin to get feedback. We begin to get perspective. And as business owners, that's how we grow. And as individuals in the world, as people walking on this planet, that's how we begin to create transformation. By creating things worth talking about. You know, it sounds a bit like the TEDx logo, and I get it. But I also sometimes think of those companies that slogans and logans, like Avis Rent-A-Car, we're number 2 and we tried harder. That's what we're talking about. Or Tom's Shoes, for every pair, we give a pair. That's what we're talking about. I know that if I mention a company like Bombas, some of you would go, oh, they're the company that gives away a pair of socks every time somebody buys one to homeless people, because homeless people report the number one thing that they need are socks. What can you do today to create something worth talking about in your business, in your family, in your own life, and in your community? That's my challenge for you today. That's the challenge that I'm putting out there on the table. And I'm going to hope you pick it up. And in the comments and in the feed as you watch this throughout the day in the live or the replay, or maybe tomorrow when you come back, tell me how you changed your life. Tell me how you leaned into that challenge. Tell me what you began to create that was worth talking about. I love the challenge. It energizes me. It calls to my creative, competitive nature. It tells me, uh-oh, Eric, you got to get busy. You got to get busy. You can't play small. You can't play little. You can't play like you're doing it. You got to actually show up and do it. Because I want people talking about it. Not because it feeds me and makes me somebody special, but because that means that I gave everything I can to that moment, to that interaction, to that intentionally. I became mindful of what I was doing. And mindful is the key to our success. Becoming mindful is the key to our creativity. Becoming mindful is one of the principles of the 12 principles of success. So I encourage you today, let's get mindful. Let's focus in and say, okay, today I'm going to pick one area and I'm going to create something worth talking about. All right, I appreciate you guys jumping in and joining me this morning. Take up the challenge. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me how you're going to do it. Share it with me. Share it with the other people in the room. And do me a favor, hit the share, like, and comment button on this Facebook Live so that we can have more people jumping in and changing the world through Success Life. All right, till I see you guys tomorrow. Be well, my friends. Be well.